We're a little bit late. I know, I'm sorry if you guys got the notification, but we have a short show for you guys today to just kind of give you guys a few reminders or bring to your awareness some things that you may honestly not be aware of.
Okay, yeah, yes indeed. Welcome. Like we always gonna jump in there. Be stacking those sats. Be stacking those ounces. See gold all time high, like almost 2,300. It's almost 2,300. You see that? So be stacking those type of ounces. Be stacking anything else you may be invested in, and anything that you have in your portfolio as far as working professionals, right? Working professionals who have a 401k or something like that. That's also stacking, right? Because it is taking out of your paycheck a little by little. So you might want to up it a little bit and just take a little bit more out. It's a policy that you can manage yourself, or you can leave to the manager. You can pick different kind of policies. Uh, I'm sorry, my voice is still on, it's still like right. So you can leave to the managers to manage it, or you can pick it. You can do something that's a little bit more what we say aggressive, and it depends on your age. Though if you're a little younger, you might go aggressive. You got the medium, then you got the real one. Like you're just really about ready to retire, and you want to protect it, but be stacking of that too. For the professionals that we're speaking to. If you have a 401k, 457, so on and so forth.
403B.
Yeah, so yeah, be stacking those too because man, those things stack up quick. If you look at them, you'll see them they stack up quick while you're working. So that's what I'm going to do. I was going to let people come in the room before we get into it.
Also, quite often with some of those financial, I'm gonna call them compensation and benefits that you get with your employer, they have matching programs. So in a sense, it's kind of, even though you're working for it, it's free money
Yes, it
that's
is.
added to what you're already kind of putting away for yourself, whether it's for retirement. Every now and then life happens and people have to access their 401k early, for multiple reasons, for a multitude of reasons.
Yep.
So, just keep that in mind that if you do have programs like that available at your place of employment, you definitely want to explore them and see how aggressive you can be with them because of the free money aspect and the stacking aspect. I'm sorry, aspect. I'm so used to saying asset. The other thing I wanted to say,
Oh, don't forget, you can borrow against them. So always remember that you can borrow against them. Um, you know, I don't know if that, but like she said, life happens. So if you need something, you just borrow against it, and you pay your own self back. You're paying back your own loan. You guys know this stuff, man. It's just I'm just saying this. It just came to my mind, but you guys know it. Those 401ks they can be valuable. They have a use case, as my beautiful wife would say. They have a use case. They are useful, even though a lot of people will say that they're not, and there's a lot of talk about corruption in the 401ks and where you put your money. That that could be another show. There's a lot of corruption in there.
what they do with the pension
What they do with
funds.
the pension funds, and Robert Kiyosaki is big on that. He talks a lot about that with the pension funds, especially of unions and stuff like that, teachers, unions, police officers, like stuff like that, firefighters. So yeah, there is some corruption in there, but it's hard. It's hard to beat the corruption. Like wherever you go, it's gonna be something. So it's hard to beat it 100%, but you just try to stay out the way of it. Right. Right. Yeah.
It is Wednesday. I'm not sure how many of you guys have actually gotten the notifications. I did want to at least kind of wait until some of our usual content cousins hop in the chat and content cousins before we begin our show. In addition to stacking and putting away your acorns,
My acorn.
I wanted to say support your content cousins. BK Crypto has crypto swag. We're not sponsored by BK Crypto, but he is our content cousin and we want to support him.
Yeah.
And this is the best time ever to start buying your Bitcoin swag, saw, strip, whatever you want to call it,
Yep.
especially in light of Bitcoin starting to kind of move aggressively again. Right now it's 66,080 at 7:45 Eastern Standard Time on April 3rd. So we are watching. We're hoping that we can start to see it break past that 73,000 so that we can have, some more mini celebrations.
Party.
If you guys want to take more profits, or if you're like us, you see that as a sign to invest more aggressively. Again, I really need to find the name of that Twitter, or the tweeter, I should say, who said that don't look at it as though you're buying from the top when you're dealing with Bitcoin. Just consider it you're buying a future dip. And it's a great perspective mind shift change in order to aggressively invest and understand that Bitcoin has no top, because as Max Kaiser would say, fiat has no
No
bottom.
bottom. None at all.
There's about 16 people in the room. I think we can kind of get started.
So before we get into it, I just want to bring up that's an odd, interesting article that I came across yesterday morning, and I should have probably spoke on it on Monday night, but we're going to talk about it here. Now, for our Bitcoiners here, our OGs, so apparently they say out there that John McAfee has been cited in El Salvador. So they said there's some eyewitness people have said they saw John McAfee walking around the streets of El Salvador. And for my people who don't know, John McAfee, he was the CEO of some kind of biotech company, if I remember correctly. And he got arrested. He got arrested in Spain, and he was supposed to be extradited to the United States. And then all of a sudden, he killed himself in his in his jail cell. And so you go talk to his wife. She said, "Oh, that he would never do that." I mean, I don't know, but he didn't seem like the type of person who would kill himself. And I can't remember what he was. I can't remember what he was in custody for. So if anybody in the chat room knows that, remind me, please. But yeah, so they said they seen him walking around in the streets of San Salvador, the major city and the capital, El Salvador. And so one guy ran up on him and said, "Hey, I thought you killed yourself." He said, "No, I didn't kill myself." And nor did Jeffrey Epstein, but that's the other part. So, and then he asked him, "What are you doing here?" He said, "I'm here for the halving party." And then a whole bunch of security guards rushed up on him and just kind of moved him out the way and moved John McAfee forward. So they say John McAfee may still be alive. I don't know. It's crazy.
For those of you on Twitter, I think Jump Out Girls tweeted that. Shout out to the Jump Out Girls. Those are our content cousins. And somebody else did too. I want to say maybe Bitcoin Chris.
That's what I'm thinking, Bitcoin Chris. Yeah, he might still be alive.
So if you're trying to catch that article, or you just Google it for real. But if you're on Twitter, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You can catch it from Jump Out Girls for sure. Them I remember. Yeah. And then Bitcoin Chris or Bitcoin Shango, he may hop in the chat in a little bit. I don't know if he's gonna be Clark Kent or Superman in the chat, but we'll see when he gets here.
Okay.
So we can get started.
But remember, he's just a regular looking white guy. So he's just walking around and you wouldn't even know him for the fact that
Unless
you
you
even,
know him.
the fact for you even picked up on it, hey, that's him, is crazy. So maybe he out there, maybe he pulled a fast one. But if people start talking about it, you better start laying low because that is a crime. It is a crime right? It's a crime.
Well, if he didn't fake his own death, if they faked it, I don't know how that works. It's one thing if you fake your own death.
Somebody's in trouble.
Yeah, but it sounds like they did something too.
If he paid somebody to fake his
Oh,
death
well, then that's
and then
different.
make
Then yeah, then
documents
you
and
in
stuff
trouble.
like
You're
that,
in trouble.
yeah. So,
But
so
he
you know,
doesn't seem concerned.
yeah, he does
So,
not seem concerned walking the streets of San Salvador.
hey,
So,
Crip Word, aka KW1, thank you
K
so much for
Dub, what's up, K
joining.
Dub?
Um, yeah, I don't know. He doesn't seem concerned. He is at the having party. So for those of you who don't know, everybody should know. Stacey Herbert and Max Kaiser are hosting a having party in El Salvador starting Friday. I believe it's going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's a huge celebration. For the newbies in the room who don't really know what the having is and is scared to ask, hubby is going to explain it to you.
Oh,
So
I
we're going to
am.
talk about the minor blocks, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you're mining blocks. So mining blocks now, you're getting 6.25 per block, right? That's not right. And I'm going off the top of my head. 6.25 mining blocks per 10 minutes, right? So you get 6.25, gets cut in half to 3.125 at the halving blocks. So you're getting half the blocks that you're mining for. So the work you put in now is getting cut in half. So you'll get half the output for the work you put in after the halving, but that makes it more valuable and more scarce.
Right.
So now you have to pay because people always just think about buying Bitcoin, but they don't also remember the people who mine Bitcoin and how they have to mine, how they have to get their overhead and their profit. So if the amount of output gets cut in half, it affects their it affects their end right in result, and so
Their output.
it gets less and it gets more scarce, and not right now, but eventually,
Eventually.
because people like BlackRock and these other ARK and all these people who can buy it up in big chunks, the miners still have to mine and make sure that there's Bitcoin to even be bought.
Right.
And so that you got to always remember the miners. Keep in mind the miners also when it gets cut in half, they have to look at really energy is a big deal because you got to figure out am I profitable in the energies kilowatts that I'm using.
The energy costs for mining Bitcoin. A lot of them live in cost efficient areas. You can't just live anywhere and mine Bitcoin. So there's that to kind of consider. MG, I want to welcome you to the room. MG is asking, good evening, good people. Where can you buy Bitcoin without so much KYC? Now they're asking for your social security number. I have not seen that.
No, I have not seen that.
I have
That'd be
not
new.
seen that. I've never used my social security number for anything we've done in crypto.
Yeah, the easiest way I still say I've seen in my ways is Cash App.
Cash App.
Yeah, Cash App. I mean, if you already have Cash App, boom, you're already on. But if you don't, they're not gonna. I don't know if they would ask for your social number. They're gonna do the normal KYC.
Yeah.
You have to, but once you do that, boom, then you can just buy it like whenever you want, and you can set it up as a what we call a dollar cost averaging, and it'll just automatically come out of your bank account. It don't have to be a whole bunch of money, maybe $10 even. But Cash App is really easy to get started.
Swan doesn't have a whole bunch of KYC.
No,
Like
Swan
you just
doesn't.
set it up once
Yeah,
and
Swan is normal KYC. Normal KYC, they want to, your face, some kind of ID. They want to see that it's, they'll tell you when it's verified, and then you put your bank account to it, and then you're ready to go.
I want to welcome Valencia Dantzler to the room. Valencia says they use Cash App. Valencia, are you from New York? I had a principal, and she had a son and a daughter, and her daughter's name was Valencia. So I want to see if you're from Lakeview. So
Long Island.
yeah, just let me know if you are Valencia from. Well, they didn't live in Lakeview, and if it's you, you know that, right? But she worked for Malvern School. She had a son and a daughter. I think it was Justin and Valencia. She just did it and put it in her Tangent wallet.
Yep.
Okay, yep. So Cash App MG would probably be your easiest way. Again, Swan Bitcoin. Once you set it up, you do have to do the KYC to set it up.
Yeah.
But after that,
And like I said, a lot of people have Cash App. If you already have Cash App, then you on there. You can just go over to, buy the Bitcoin.
okay, Valencia's from Charlotte. All right.
Charlotte.
Well, there's a Valencia Dancer out there in New York, maybe.
Charlotte.
My
Yeah.
principal's daughter's name was Valencia, so I was like, what?
Yeah, Cash App's real good. Bitcoin's big on Cash App. So,
So MoonPay is asking for your social now?
hey, man, that's why you got.
KW1, are you still on? If you're still on, can you verify that MoonPay is asking for social? I mean, people need to know that if that's what they're doing, because the whole point of crypto and coming out of traditional finances to come away from the social, you can do KYC without a social security number.
Yeah.
So I'm both concerned and curious. Okay, MG has Cash App, so
Okay.
they'll just stick with that.
Yeah, Cash App, bro. And that's a wallet. And when you have your Bitcoin and Cash App, that's a wallet. So it's safe there. If you have a preferred wallet, you just send your Bitcoin you bought through Cash App to the wallet that you prefer to have it in. So Cash App is great, and you understand because we have a Bitcoiner per se, I guess, who is the CEO of Cash App Square,
Right.
right? So he's making sure that things run smoothly. So,
KW1 said, yep, they've changed. They're asking for social.
man,
She said they're asking for everything now. So that's what KW1 said.
that's for everything. Wow.
So we do need to be wary of those
And
exchanges
changes like that.
that are starting to now dig into social security numbers and like, what do you need that for? Why do you need that? It doesn't have to be part of the KYC. Plus, if we're talking about security, anybody can get their hands on your social security number. So it's not a great KYC authentication anyway.
No, it's not. So, yeah, Cash App is still strong, even though people tried to play it out like, oh, you got Cash App or something like that, Coinbase. So I never was a fan of Coinbase. I'm not gonna bang on them right now,
Yes, you were.
but I never was a fan of
You was
Coinbase. I'm gonna bang on them, but yeah. So Cash App is pretty solid. You can get it right there, and you can see it. You can use it. You can move it around. So it works pretty good.
And KW1 said Cash App also gives different addresses. So maybe MG might want to stick to that for now.
Yeah, right now,
Definitely
right
look
here.
into Swan, right? And this is what the show is about today. So the show is, and if you know, you know, that's great. Shout out to if you know, you know, just in case you do come on.
Shout out.
If you know, that's great. But for those who don't know, it just gives them a chance to either introduce the idea to them or to remind you guys who already know that these things are important.
Yeah.
So the name of the show is called Levels of Money.
Levels of money. Huh.
And as you can already tell, right, money and wealth is one of those things where you're like, there's levels to this. And we always need to adopt the mindset that goes along with those levels, right? Because when you're vibrating at that frequency, that's when you begin to attract the things in that level, in that sphere, so on and so forth. MG, no problem. Now, I will tell you, MG, before I continue on to the main topic, that Swan Bitcoin has absolutely excellent customer service. There's a gentleman named Reed Womack.
Shout out to
Anything,
Reed.
I know, right? Shout out to Reed. He's like, I don't know, but he always emails us. And he's very responsive. Reed will respond to you within like an hour, right? I don't want to put that pressure on him in case they actually have SLAs of like a business day or what have you. But Reed would get to you. He's very responsive. He listens. He's an attentive listener, even though obviously you're sending an email. He has good attention to detail. And he resolves issues very quickly.
Very quickly. And if you go over to on YouTube and you pull up Swan Bitcoin, they have a YouTube channel where they have the CEO of Bitcoin. His name is Corey Klippstein.
The CEO of Swan?
Of Swan, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My bad. The CEO of Swan, his name is Corey Klippstein. And they do shows and do different things, lives like this. And so you can get information from them. Jan Pritzler, who is the CIO, and he has the free book that if you go to Swan Bitcoin, There's a free Bitcoin education book written by Jan Pritzler.
Oh, and that Bitcoin
Yeah.
education book is
Yeah.
good to give people who want to ask you a whole
And
bunch of questions.
it's very technical, but it's
Yeah.
about 100 pages. You know, it's a tough read, but once you get through it,
I don't think it's too bad.
once you get through it, you're like, okay, I get it. Yeah, I got to get to Jake Fever. Shout out to Jake Fever. Yep, they want them taxes, and that's another thing we try to talk about in the show is that flag theory. One of the things with flag theory is not to it's to have your taxes done in a different way. If your income comes from a different way, then the way the United States has to tax you in a different way because they want the taxes, see, right? They want the money. That's why people go out here and what do you say, 126,000 before they even can tax you
Right.
outside if you have a residency in another country. So, you know, people are always you got to try to find a way
Yeah.
because the tax man wants his money.
Right. So that's why I'm saying KYC, it isn't about authentication because you wouldn't use the social to authenticate someone. But like Jay said, they're probably trying. So here's the thing, right? This tax year, I don't know how many of you guys are into the taxes, know anything about it. They quietly changed the tax code. So people who typically got a refund did not get a refund this year. There were a lot of head of households when Trump changed the tax code, head of household got an immense amount of benefits. And somehow, some way, they seem to pull at that because, like I said, people who typically, I'm not saying everybody, but there were a lot of people who this was the first year ever that they owed the US government, and not a little bit of change too, like a good chunk of change.
Yeah.
So that's one. Two, you have to remember, for those of you who have been watching the show, who stay up on current affairs, the United States this year and last year have just been making it rain all over the world. What do I mean by that? The Ukraine war, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, the migrants, anything you can think of, they just go into the magical checkbook, write a check, and we're talking 20 billion here, 3 billion here, 45 billion there.
Yeah. And
They're just
in New York City, apparently you said was giving out $1,400 per month.
for the migrants.
Yeah.
Right? So that's coming out of federal budget, even though they're giving that federal money to a state. With that being said, you have to recoup the money somewhere, right? Yes, we have a deficit, but at the same time, they do have to sit down and say, what's a way for us to recoup some of the money from all of the people we've been giving it to? Well, we can't recoup the money from the people we've been giving it to because they don't pay into the system.
Yeah.
We're gonna take the money from you.
Yeah. And
So this is why we're constantly talking to you. If you have a 401k, 403b, whatever plan you have with your compensation and benefits for my W-2s, you need to maximize that, right? That way, they can't eat into the money you're paying. It just makes sure your tax obligation's smaller on your paycheck.
Yeah, and so what she's saying also, $23,000 is the max. We talked about last
For a 401k.
for a 401k, 457, 403b, all these. 23,000 is what you can maximum put into your investment account that isn't taxed. So if you made $100,000 a year, like we said, it would only be taxed as
87.
77. It'd be taxed as
You
77.
said 23, right?
23, yeah.
From 100,000?
Yeah.
It'd be 87.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's gonna be 77. But
77?
yeah, it's gonna be 77.
Baby. Okay, yeah, you're right. 23,000. I don't know why I was like 23,000.
See
Y'all,
how they
it's
do
been a
me?
long week. Today's Friday. Okay, 77,000.
Yeah. So 77,000 is what it would be
Tax
taxed.
sheltering.
It'd
right.
be taxed. It's tax sheltering, and that's a good way to say it because if you did that over a career span, 25, 30 years, this is what you put away that wasn't taxed.
And of course, those numbers change over time as well.
Yeah. And so when you want to take it out, it's taxed at a flat rate when you bring it out, right? And so you really got over because they can only tax you at a flat rate. And even if you made a whole bunch of money on the money you put away, they can still only tax you on that flat rate. So that's a good way to put your money away if you have the ability to do so.
If you have those
Yeah,
benefits.
if you had the
So this
ability.
is not financial
And
advice. We are not financial advisors.
and it gets matched by your
It gets
employer,
matched 5% typically by your employer.
which is not say free money, but it's money that
You didn't have to.
there we go. They just put it in and on, throwing on top. So
So you
yeah,
definitely want to do that when we're talking about taxes.
for my
Two,
professional people.
you don't want to be all willy-nilly and selling your profits with Bitcoin because the IRS does tax your Bitcoin profits, not capital gains, but property, right? It's property in cyberspace. Two, all of the places where, especially the exchanges, that you withdraw profits from, they report to the IRS. So you can't even really hide it anymore, right? I think the first 2 years, people were like, no, what? What's Bitcoin? And meanwhile, that was when Bitcoin was at like 60,000 the first time. And mugs were partying like, what, IRS? What do you mean? What is this Bitcoin you speak of? But now, Cash App reports and Swan reports, all of these different places report now if you are taking profits. So you don't want to, like we say, squander your profits. If you're like us, if you're like Jake, you buy the Bitcoin, you just hold on to it.
Yeah, but I do, keep Bitcoin in a certain place where if you need it in an emergency, if you need
You have access to it.
If you need $100, you
But I
got
said, don't be
Bitcoin.
willy-nilly.
Yeah, you got Bitcoin in the cut. You need $100. You can just sell it. You got $100.
Yeah.
But
Don't be
there will be a statement that comes that says you sold $100 worth of Bitcoin.
Yeah, and that's why I said they're reporting it.
Yeah, so it'll be there.
So, Jay Fever said, get a VPN and get into this real crypto world. That's hilarious. MG does listen to Swan on YouTube, so MG is familiar with Swan. He just has to look into the actual looking at it.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to our jump out girls. We just talked about y'all at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, we did.
We were talking about your John McAfee tweet. Him just walking around.
Y'all seen him too?
Having fun at the having party. Valencia said you can borrow against it. Don't cash it out. Cryptonomics, where have you been? Thank you so much for joining us.
Where you been at, dog?
I had to send out a bolo on you last show. Like, Cryptonomics, come back. Oh, and Cryptonomics, you gotta be loving gold at all-time high. You gotta be loving that. The gains that we've been getting in silver, I know you've got to be loving that life. I thought about you when we had read the gold at the all-time high. Was that yesterday or the day before?
That was this morning.
Was it this morning?
Yeah, that was this morning.
We didn't sleep good last night, so I feel like I've been up for 3 days.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But we sure did say Cryptonauts probably having
gold is at
good old time.
All-time high, pushing 2,300.
Tawana is back, you guys. Tawana Mayo, welcome. Said, good evening, young people. Good news, sort of. Okay. She said, I received some of my coins back from Celsius. Nice.
Thank you.
Waiting on the next claim code. Loving it. That's great news.
Come on, BlockFi.
I know, BlockFi has yet to give us a claim code.
Come on, BlockFi.
We waiting. I'm be like the lady on Titanic. It's been 84 years since BlockFi gave me my claim code.
Yeah, come on, BlockFi.
Quit work. AKA KW1, moving Bitcoin and crypto to your wallet is not a taxable event. No, it's not. So I'm glad she mentioned that because we make assumptions that everybody knows everything, all of the nuances of the space. So thank you so much for letting people know that in case they didn't know. But the moment you sell it, it's a taxable event and it is reported.
Yeah, and it's
right. So it's hard to hide.
It makes your taxes messy.
Yes, it does.
It makes it messy, and it's just for a little bit of money.
Well, most people don't do their own taxes, so I mean,
I see what you're saying, but yeah,
you're saying it's messy because we sit down and do it.
It makes it messy because small transactions get very, I don't know, intricate. They get very detailed. It's like there's only $100,
right?
But it was.
But when you have multiple events, that's when it starts, and the bigger the nominations, it starts to get messy. But most people get tax professionals to do it. I don't even think about it.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that's even if they report it. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people who are still thinking like, what? Bitcoin? I ain't never heard of that. Meanwhile, they done took out profits of like $20,000 and stuff.
A lot of people like who?
I'm sure there's a lot of people who have taken out, not like me. I know what? Bitcoin. I've never heard of such thing. What kind of coins are they? Can I use them at Chuck E. Cheese? Apparently you can. I think I told you guys about that article. It's not
That's
funny,
crazy.
but it's actually quite comical. Cryptonomics said most definitely. Silver and Doge about to pop very soon. That's when the real dollars come through. Yeah, we've been having a great silver gold season.
Yeah.
Simon was reading off all of the percentage gains to me this morning, and my eyes just kept getting bigger and bigger
Yeah,
and
because
bigger. I was like, really?
because
All of that's happening?
yeah, that's happening. It's like quietly happening,
It's
and
very quiet.
you
It's
know,
very
like
quiet.
gold is because gold is always going to overshadow silver.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's in the news, you're gonna see gold is up this amount, it's up this amount, and then the other precious metals just quietly move up. Copper was the one that moved up last year. It's like boom, and then I haven't even been checking for copper, and it keeps moving up. I'm like, dang, copper is moving, and so you got to, you just keep an eye on
Cryptonomics,
it.
I think you have a pretty good copper stash too, didn't you? I think you mentioned it to us once.
Yeah, copper,
Bitcoin
that's the word.
Shango is here in his Superman form.
Copper's
Shout
the
out to
word.
Bitcoin Shango.
Yeah,
Funny
that's
story,
a homie.
Bitcoin Shango. This morning, as husband, was talking to wife and reading off all of the exceptional gains in the precious metals world. I figured that that would be the solution for my third paycheck this month. Right, Shango? I want you to type in the chat if you think that is the solution for me to get my third paycheck this month. Right, husband?
Or some LeBrons.
No.
Some
We'll deal
LeBrons.
with the LeBrons later. The third paycheck, that's where the money comes from the third paycheck, right there, right? All of the silver and gold gains.
Tell him let me get no new sneakers.
Shango, I'm gonna need you to like walk him through this thing because he's having trouble computing it in his mind.
Size 13, y'all.
Tawana said it was hell getting the claim code. I bet it was, but at least she got it. Right?
Yeah, that's a fight.
We still
That's
waiting
a
on
fight
it.
with those, man, those, I don't know, I mean, are they rug pulls? I mean, I know they were just, I remember Celsius, I remember watching, watched the whole video with the guys. Is it Celsius the one where the guy, the CEO was from Russia? If you can help me remember. But the guy was, I think he was a Russian man. And so I watched the videos and I watched, I went through Celsius because it was similar to BlockFi, where you could, but you could put your stake
I
in
remember we were
coins
looking
and you
at
can get
Celsius.
you get interest and stuff like that.
Oh, we ended up getting distracted.
From Celsius?
Yeah. Did you end up?
Yeah, I wasn't really feeling it. I mean, you could go over there, you get the loan and all that. And,
You have anything on the exchange that they owe you?
BlockFi, yeah.
Not BlockFi, Celsius.
No, I never used them like that.
That's what I said. We ended up getting distracted and not using it.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling what he was talking about, but I understood. You could put your stuff over there. You could stake stuff and get a loan and things like that. But I never used it. But it remind me if that's the one with the Russian CEO, if you know. But yeah, I looked at Celsius for a while.
So CryptWorks said if you have losses in Bitcoin and crypto, you can only claim 3,000, right? And in a volatile market like crypto and Bitcoin, your losses can be way more than 3,000, just depending on how good or bad the year was. So that's true, CryptWorks. Bitcoin Shango was popping in before taking his son to get braid maintenance. Jake Fever, silver and gold popping off now, but it ain't gonna do Bitcoin numbers, and you can't buy anything with it. Jake Fever, it has its utility,
Yes,
right?
it does.
Like I said, as a nation builder, having it and having the children sit and surrounding them with it, it's a great way to pop into their collective consciousness, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, that you are wealthy.
Yeah, and it
And
depends on.
just starting into the world, not in a poverty mindset.
Yeah,
right?
it depends on how you have it set up, where you are in your investment cycle. As Andy Shackman would say,
It
gold and
is
silver
wealth.
is wealth.
And it's always been wealth.
And so if you're trying to maybe you got some great gains and you want to take some profits, and you just run it back into gold and silver to protect the profits that you had, so that you can protect against the volatility.
Or
It
you
just has
can
its
take
use
the great profits from gold and silver and give it to your wife as a third paycheck. That's a
Good.
great utility. Another good utility is taking the
people do.
profits.
Most people do.
But you're not most people. and running it into Bitcoin, right? So it does have its utility. It is part of a very well-rounded portfolio. It's also a passive income for us, which is what the show is about today, the
Yeah.
different levels of money.
Yeah.
Cryptonomics, yeah. Copper is priced by pound though, so it's got to go up a lot to be worth anything. It's not priced in ounces. Bitcoin Shango said she gonna get me shot, y'all. No, I'm not. You're the epitome of example, Bitcoin Shango. It says a lot of the crypto companies have CEOs and founders from the former Soviet bloc.
Yeah.
Kind of made me scratch my head. Celsius founder Alex, can't say it, Mashinsky?
Yeah.
He was Ukrainian, I believe.
Ukrainian.
Here goes our third cast member. I think he's all out of gas though, so he won't be running around. He just came back from basketball practice. Um,
Yeah, I remember that dude. Yeah, he might have been Ukrainian. I'm sorry to disrespect to call everybody Russian.
BlockFi gave me all my Bitcoin I had on there. It was like $60, but it's mine. Yeah, we have, I think, 2 point something Ethereum on there.
Yeah, they got my Ethereum right now, but I had to double check. I haven't checked on it one, so maybe they gave it back to me. I don't even know. I got to check on it.
Tawana said, Amen, PayPal paid my coins. I cashed in all Ethereum, going to keep my Bitcoin though. My grandkids might get a clue one day. Bitcoin Shango, as far as third paychecks, I vote whichever accommodations are agreed upon. We can't even agree upon the third paycheck. What do you mean? Anyway, so let's get into the show. It's not going to be a long show tonight. I know we're not even in it, but it's going to be a short show. We just want to remind you, like we said earlier before some of you got here, if you know, you know. Shout out to if you know, you know. But if you know this, that's great. It'll be just a refresher, a reminder. If you don't know this, and a lot of people don't know things and don't want to ask, because I don't know what it is about 2024, when people ask questions about things they don't know, they get shamed for not knowing it. And it's just a bad feedback
Yeah,
loop.
you're supposed to know everything. Huh?
It's a negative feedback loop. But like, how come you in the space and you don't know this by now?
I don't know. I mean, I know what I know, but I don't know everything.
But I'm saying people don't feel comfortable asking about things they don't know because of the public shame, the ridicule, chats, the comments. People got to turn comments off when they want to ask questions and stuff like that. It's a hot mess. But here we encourage questions. Doesn't matter. Even if you come on here and you want to ask what is Bitcoin, we will sit down and we will have some engagement with you. Unless you are OG and you're trolling us. So there are 3 levels to money. I don't know, I'm sorry. There are 3 levels, we're gonna say, to wealth, in a sense.
Fiat currency, but yeah, to
Fiat currency. But we do want to bring it to your attention because it's important. So the first level is, typically you start off working for money,
for fiat currency,
for
but
fiat currency, okay? The second level is,
you invest your fiat currency, and your fiat currency works for you.
and then the third level is, other people's fiat currency works for you in order to make you fiat currency, right? So in addition to that, as you're working your way up the levels, and we're really gonna talk about level 2 for now, is you wanna begin to, and I don't know where you guys are in life and stuff like that, so we're just talking in general. You wanna begin to set up passive income, streams of passive income. Most people, most wealthy people say it's best for you to have up to, thank you, baby. It's best for you to have up to 7 streams of passive income. I'm gonna say that again.
That's what I've heard.
Up to 7 streams of passive income. And it's up to you, not the government. There's no savior coming in to think of these things for you or to get it going for you, to think about all of the innovative ways that you can do this. We feel like, in our experience, one of the best ways to get this done is to start off with investments and have a nice portfolio so that you have all of these different areas making money. And if there's an event, right, I call it a contraction. If there's a contraction in one part of the market, the rest of your portfolio, hopefully, right, it's not a black swan event, is not having those contractions and is providing you some sort of gains. Hold on, baby.
And you got to understand, we talked about last show, we had the chart up for Bitcoin, how much, how much you got back over 1 year, 5 years, max chart, right? Remember, everybody's not a Bitcoiner. Some people are in Bitcoin just to make money. So to them, that's their passive income, right? You set a piece of money, some capital down into Bitcoin, and it went up 150%. They're going to take profits on that because they're not true Bitcoiners, they're investors, and they're going to take the profits on the money they invested. So, you have to see that it'll be that. They're not people who are going to hold on to it for years and years and years and years. You see these people getting into it, BlackRock as a company. Do you think they're Bitcoiners or you think they're in it for the money? They're in it for the money. And if Bitcoin makes a huge gains, then they can take profits and make money, right?
Right.
So Bitcoin is passive income because everybody doesn't hold on to it forever. And if you just buy it and let it sit, you're gonna get gains, and then that's passive income.
Right.
And you can take the income off of it, off the top, shave it off the top, shave it off the top. So Bitcoin is there.
And we're talking about passive income. So you may have to, before you get to the passive income part, obviously you start off with you have to work for the fiat currency. So you may have to set up ways in order for you to maximize your ability to create passive income. A lot of people love real property, real estate. The only thing I would say about that, we've been there, done that, not crazy about it, is that the property that you're purchasing is a huge liability way before it ever becomes an asset. The property is not an asset until it is income generating. And typically, most real estate properties are not income generating right away. High capital investors, yes, because they have the overhead in order to make it income generating right away.
Right now.
But your average person who's like, I'm going to buy Airbnb, I'm going to
That's tough.
buy a summer home that I can rent out, I'm going to buy a house to rent out to yada, yada, yada,
That's tough.
right? Yes, you're getting the rent every month, but you really do have to sit down, and some people don't realize that they just kind of make up numbers. You have to sit down and do the math in order to ensure that the money that you are being paid by your renters covers everything, and there is somewhat of a margin of profit for you.
Yep.
Because when their fridge goes out, that's on you to get taken care of, I think within at least 30 days, but most people reasonably want a new fridge within 24 to 48 hours, right? Fridge is broken.
Yeah,
The
we've
water
been there.
heater doesn't work. That's something can't wait 30 days.
Nah, yeah, get ready to know the HVAC.
Whatever it
Yeah,
is,
you gotta get ready
you
on
have
that.
to take care of it now. Plus, right, you have to pay the mortgage on that rental property, whether someone is renting it or not.
And then if you're not in the local area, maybe because we have done this, you have to have some kind of management
Property
company,
manager.
so who can take care of that stuff. And then, but so now you're paying another person.
And we don't want to give you a whole bunch of negative reasons why not to buy real property. What we want to do is bring to your attention the points that people don't talk about when they say a great investment ideas for you to purchase an investment
Yeah.
property.
Yeah.
Now, we do have options in 2024, and I think that's incredible. If the IRS considers your Bitcoin to be property in cyberspace,
That's what they do.
then 2024 gives you the opportunity to treat it as such.
Yeah.
Instead of buying real property, which is a real liability before it becomes an asset, I can buy a real asset, a real commodity, right? It's a quality commodity, it's a high class asset, right now with no counterparty risk.
Yeah, let it sit, and if you treated it like property, the gains you get is the rent payment you get,
Right.
right? So I mean, if you want to treat it like that, some people that's how they get down. That's their hustle. That's their get down. This is their property, and as it goes up, I just take off. The gains is like right.
So there goes your passive income
Yep.
in a great virtual way. that has a performance that the housing market can't offer you, right? Jake made a pretty good point earlier when he
Yeah.
said that yes, gold is up, silver's up, but they're not going to have the performance that Bitcoin has. This is correct.
And then just like the shout out to Cryptonomics, he said you can take the profits and reinvest
Into
into
the other
other
commodities
commodities.
in crypto.
So that's a smart way to think about it because you just protect you got these great gains and you just put them over here in commodities and protect them.
Tawana, not properties in outer space, property in cyberspace.
Did you say outer space?
She said outer, she thought I said outer space, in cyberspace, not outer space. Bitcoin Shango. Man, my experience with real estate was horrible. I bought a place where I thought I was going to retire. So while I was PCSing, I had an agent take care of things. Wrong. That's right.
Yeah.
And there's hella counterparty risks that go along with real property
That's tough, because we hear that
all the time.
far too often. And I hate to hear that you went through that, but
Especially while PCSing, that's nuts.
yeah, because
As a serviceman.
that I hate to hear that. I definitely hate to hear that. But real property it's troublesome.
It's a liability before it's an asset. And like I said, when people are used to doing things a certain way, people are used to, and I'm going to say it, and I don't care what type of, pushback I get, people are used to regurgitating things that they've heard over and over and over and over and over again. And yes, that was probably great during the boomer generation, right? To own investment properties, to have timeshares. Like, it's 2024. Have you guys heard of a timeshare in 2024? Right? They're almost obsolete now. I know there's a few still coming.
I bet if you're still going to those vacation places,
Yeah.
they'll still try to talk you into
But
it.
it's like with Airbnb, I don't need a timeshare. I can just get the Airbnb whenever I'm ready to travel. I don't have to wait this specific week 10 months out in order to travel. And, you own it, and this person owns it, and that person owns it. They're basically rehypothecating property. No. So we want to kind of bring that to your attention. With the levels of money, you may have to put some elbow grease in at first, because one thing about the dimension that we live in, you're never, ever, ever going to be able to escape the time. I'm going to call it the time payment, right? Whether you pay with cash, whether you pay with your time, you can't shortcut these two little tidbits. And a lot of people try to shortcut it. You can't own a house with a 30-year mortgage unless you have all of the money up front, period, right? So there's that. Or you have to put the time in over the 30 years.
Yeah.
So the only way around that, like I said, is to kind of shift your mindset into a 2024 mindset. And since Bitcoin, the IRS sees Bitcoin as property, there it is. What'd you say?
Yeah.
Let Freedom Ring, thank you so much for joining.
Hey, what's up? What up?
Cryptonomics, government don't have jurisdiction in cyberspace, do they? No. They can only tax, right? They can only tax when you sell out of cyber and the crypto space. That is correct.
And so remember, you can set up, we go over this from time to time, but a good friend of the show, Andrew Henderson, he talks about.
I never heard you say it's government.
Well, yeah, because he's big on doing things the right way. So that's why I always mention him, because he makes sure the paperwork is right and you're not skirting and, having a problem with the IRS, but, you get these other places and then you have a residency. So then when it says, maybe you sold your Bitcoin, but you're a resident of this country, and now the taxes are different. Right? Because, but what is your tax rate that we can tax you at? And if you're under that tax rate, these are different ways you could just move around. He's good on that. He's great on that, but he usually uses really high. You call them decamillionaires, I think.
Yeah, the deca.
Yeah, decamillionaires is a lot of people that are his clients, but you can still get good game off of what he's saying. If you're not a decamillionaire, you can still apply it to what you have going on.
Bitcoin Shango, we have to lower the rent price again and again to a point that you are operating at a negative, right? something with the rent agent fees and you got hit in your taxes because as far as the IRS was concerned, you had renters, right? Even though you were getting over $200 less than the mortgage.
Exactly. To me, I mean, these real estate things that we try to jump into to be investors, man, they become it's a mess. And just what that was said, it's so real,
Yes.
right? You just taking on rent, but it's 200 less than the mortgage that you actually owe, and then the IRS taxes. And, man, that's crazy. When you could just have Bitcoin, or you could just have precious metals.
And what I want to say is the whole point of the conversation is that Bitcoin is a real passive income. Too many people, when I sit and I listen to it, and I'm like, I get what you're trying to say, but you're not telling the people up front how this is a liability before it becomes an asset, and it takes time. You're just average people, and it takes time for this liability to become an asset, and it takes so long that a lot of people don't get there.
Yeah.
They end up losing the property, there's a lien put against it. I mean, we can go on and on with all of the risks that are involved in it that you can bypass treating your Bitcoin like property in cyberspace, okay? So what we are proposing that you guys should do, again, we are still doing the 12-week year. Every single week for 12 weeks counts as a month. So every week is 1 month. You get a lot done.
I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if you had $10,000, you're gonna put a down payment on a property, right? That's what is that going right? 20,000.
It's gonna be about 20,000.
So let's go
If not
20.
more.
So if you caught your 20, and this is not financial advice, and say you caught your 20, and you caught the Bitcoin back there at 16. You know, all right, so drop your $20,000, you got this amount of Bitcoin, and you just sat on it, and you seen it grow every.
The
That
performance of
that would be like rent payment.
Right.
It would just come off like, oh wow, it's up to.
But it would be
it's up to
better than
20.
rent payment, because you have to remember, for most people, the rent payment is now going towards the mortgage. So it goes from your renter's hand to your hand to the bank's hand.
But
That's not
this-
even your money, because the
Yeah.
property is still a liability. You haven't paid that asset off yet.
Yeah, but so look how nice it is. It goes
Right,
up
you
to
can, it just goes to
20,
your hand,
It goes to 25. You're like, oh man. It goes to 30. You're like, oh man.
and you leave the bank out
Yeah,
of it.
and it keep going 30, 40, and when it got up to 73, you're like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting huge rent payments. So treat it like property. If you don't like old, like you say, the past generational
Right.
way of dealing with property.
There are a lot of people who are having some income issues.
Okay.
And one of the main sources of their income issues is the credit card, right? Because let's be honest, I don't want to use the statistic that the average person, but let's just say there's a lot of average people
Yeah.
whose credit doesn't allow them low interest rates. Let's just be honest. And it is the interest rate on the credit cards that are killing people, as well as, I'm not going to talk about school loans. We're going to leave school loans out of the conversation for today. But it is the credit card debacle that is creating the restrictions on the ability to invest. I've also noticed that when people have multiple credit card debt, the first thing that they'll pull back on instead of their spending is their 401k, or they'll pull back on what they're investing, right? So the pay yourself first goes from the top of your priority list all the way tumbles down to the bottom because of the debt that you have accrued over however long you've accrued it. One of the things that we take a lot of pride in is that we don't have any credit card debt. We do not use credit cards. I don't care what the finesse is. I have people say, oh, but I can show you how you can use the debt and make money. No, 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 right? We have built up a coffer large enough to be very selective and decisive in how we want to move and the strategies that we want to take on. But I'm going to say your average credit card user who is in crushing debt doesn't know how to use credit, or doesn't really have the capacity financially to utilize the credit. Because what's the credit? The credit is just leverage.
Yeah,
right?
It's just leverage.
Right.
Leverage. So you'll be highly levered if you have all these credit cards.
Yes.
That's so, and just because she mentioned that, I'm gonna go over some real quick, just off the top of the dome. I don't have the numbers perfectly, but you'll see them if you look up that article. So I just went over an article this morning with you, where it was talking about they went and did I guess a test with some of the students from Yale,
Oh,
Harvard,
yeah, that was horrible.
Harvard, and NYU.
Yes.
So they did a test for those three schools, Yale, Harvard, NYU,
Students
students to see what they knew about economics.
and finance.
And so across the board, they got a 51%. 51%, we all know, is an F. So they scored an F in knowledge of, like she said, credit card debt,
Household budgeting.
household budgeting, how debit cards are used, which I was like, how do you fail that part? And they some other things. It was
Like
some-
how capitalism works
Yeah.
based on debt. So they didn't understand, the Treasury, the Fed. They didn't know those different parts
Nope.
and capacities and how they work. They didn't know anything about the magical checkbook.
So
Obviously, there's no magical
and
checkbook.
these are students from top tier schools.
Top tier schools.
Yeah, and no matter their major, I don't know if you're.
It's not their
economic-
major, but what I was saying to you is the demographic. That demographic has so much disposable income available to them that budgeting doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Dad is just gonna pay it.
Yeah.
Like there's so much money that everything gets covered. So there's no real budgeting. I've noticed that there's this new thing with professional black women who can do whatever they want to, buy whatever they want, take care of themselves. I hear a lot of them say things like, I don't have a budget. Like I just make so much money that I can buy what I want, do what I want, and there's enough money to cover all of it. And I'm not really in any type of debt.
That's the
Now
worst.
you want to take people at face value,
But that's the worst statement you can make because you see. People,
but you've been hearing, I've been playing it for you.
But you see people who make far more money than you
Go bankrupt.
go bankrupt. So it make you think you
Yes.
don't have a budget. You have no budget because
Yes.
you make $62,000 a year. You have no
Hundreds of
budget.
millions of dollars, go completely broke, but you good. I get it, right? I'm like, okay, I guess.
If they're not putting nothing to the side, they're not getting no good game. Well,
But on the
I ain't gonna go
surface,
for that.
you think when you're looking on the surface that they do understand finance and they do know how to budget. And it's just that there's so much available disposable income that I guess it's not necessary for them to budget.
No, it's the little old lady who works and doesn't get paid that much, who has a huge retirement. But you don't have no. Okay.
And then that's right? Because I don't know, are you paying attention to those? There's just so much money that you have available to you for your lifestyle and the stuff you want to do. Are you paying attention to your 401k? Are you investing in Bitcoin in order to have significant, are you going to work the rest of your life? Like, what are we doing?
How long can you work?
Do you think that you're going to get retired? Do you think you're going to get Social Security in order to supplement your retirement by the time, it's time for you to retire when you're 40 years old? So these are some of the little things we wanted to bring to your attention. And we realized that across this large group of demographics, that one, people should just kind of be refreshed on the ideas of the level of fiat currency, but money, right? First, you got to work for it, then it works for you, then other people's money work for you.
Yeah.
We have yet to get other people's money to work for us, but we are working towards it.
Because once you start getting other people's money worth, you start talking about debt.
Yeah, now you're talking about that,
If
right?
you want to take on debt?
Tell them about the Kiyosaki.
Oh yeah, well,
And they might know, but
I'm sure if you guys follow Robert Kiyosaki, he'll tell you, man, he's $1.2 billion in debt. But he'll tell you how many rental properties he owns and how much Bitcoin.
it's
he
not
owns.
affecting his lifestyle yet. And
Yeah.
he does make a significant amount of money off the debt, but it's not enough to cover the debt. So I'm not sure how this is going to play out. I've
Well,
been
he's an
watching.
old man,
I've
so
been
you
watching.
know how it's gonna play out. So he's an older gentleman.
It's a house of cards.
Yeah,
It's a house of cards.
Somebody will have to.
Kamal Kumar said, good morning. Kamal, tell us where you are that it's morning time.
Talking about, man, where you-
Because it's actually 8:00 in the evening, so I would like to know what part of the world you're in.
Where you at? You in
We
Japan or
are
something?
currently filming from Ixtlahuaca de Rayon, Mexico. So we are curious to know what part of the world you're in, and thank you
Oh,
so
great,
much for
yes.
joining us.
Great.
Casper Cooper, salute wealth stewards. Thank you so much for joining us. Let Freedom Ring said, wow, cryptonomics, credit cards are death. Avoid them. Tawana, I remember when credit card interest was tax deductible. It's criminal how they did away with that. They had to do away with it.
Yeah, man, they played us out.
And then even usury laws, they had to have been rewritten because I want to know how your credit card interest rate after 6 months can be something crazy like 30%,
Yeah, it gets crazy.
40%, something ridiculous. Simon and I were watching something. I can't remember what we were watching. And an ad, I don't, was it an ad? I want to say it was an ad. Remember the Indian,
Oh boy,
the Native
well,
American?
no, that's the usury where they could do that on the on certain parts of the United States of America.
But they're on a reservation, right?
She was in Colorado.
Okay, she's
Yeah,
in
she's in
Colorado.
Colorado.
It's a payday loan place.
Man.
And we had to, like, we froze it because we wanted to read the small disclosure. Y'all know we're a bunch of nerds. We wanted to read the disclosure at the bottom. It was 149%.
Yeah, it was crazy. You're like, wow.
It was
And you're allowed to do
149%.
that, but they were allowed to do that on certain places that were,
Yeah.
like you said.
Then she was definitely on a reservation because she called it. And she was dressed.
And she had a thing in her ear.
Yeah, she was dressed. She had the feather in her hair.
Yeah,
She
she
had
had
on
the
the
feather in
leather
her hair.
outfit.
Yes.
So it was a lot of cosplay. She really did look Native American, but maybe she
sure
was
did.
Mexican. I don't
She
know.
did.
But the interest rate was 149%. And they have been talking about in certain small segments about the abuse of the payday loans. And the usury that's been going along with it, that somehow, some which way, shape, or form is legal because they are able to get the permits they need to get in order to bank in the United States and do these payday loans with, it has to be young people. I can't imagine that older people
Well-
are doing it, but when somebody's desperate, they're desperate.
Well, and then what you just said, I'm glad you said that, is that we're talking about sometimes people who are unbanked.
Yeah.
In the United States, it's tough when you're unbanked.
Yeah.
It's, you can't go get a Chase bank account or what's the other one? What's the other one we got? Wells Fargo, any of the top four, the Citigroup, Bank of America. You can't get these banks, so you have to go and figure out another way to bank yourself. Even if you're getting a paycheck,
Right.
they want to know somewhere where they can send the paycheck to you. Because how many people get cash? Get paper checks anymore. They want to know where they can direct deposit their money to you, and you're unbanked. So you got to go to CVS or whatever, get these cards
Oh, yeah, the gift cards.
and stuff so they can send them the paycheck there. People are unbanked, and that's why Bitcoin is a big thing about people who are unbanked. Now you can't.
It's hard to figure out a way to transfer it from your wallet to fiat though when you're unbanked.
Yeah, that's the thing. And so being unbanked is a big problem in the United States, is what I read. Is what I read. I'm not over there like that, but being unbanked, you have to have some type of bank, some level of banking, right, to at least receive your paycheck.
Right. Must be nice to have a trust or something along those lines. He's talking about the Yale, NYU, and Harvard kids.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Those are legacy families, and
Yeah,
NYU
yeah,
is
yeah.
expensive as hell. So if you're not there on a scholarship, there's a lot of disposable income supporting you, behind you.
And they're kind of breaking down also that it doesn't matter what school you went to. It just matters what you know and what you can do. And these jobs, you see that, you see Google had, was it 1/3?
What, baby?
1/3 of their,
The degrees, right? They don't
Yeah.
even need that. If you know what you're doing, you know what you're doing.
yeah, if you know what you're doing in Google, man, they're going to hire you. And it don't matter if you went to Yale, they just hire you.
Bitcoin Shango, usury laws. Do you remember how mad Jesus got in the temple? Yes. But they shouldn't have been selling stuff there
You
either.
talking when he smacked the table over?
Yeah, you flip the table over. They do not care about interest rates. There is next to no ceiling with that, and congressional budget too. Yeah, like the deficit. When people talk about bad credit, no one has worse credit than the United States government. I don't know why we don't talk about it, but we don't. Like, no one is more irresponsible in spending than the government, right? You see what the deficit is. They have the, what do you call the counter?
Oh, man, not the world clock counter.
The world clock counter.
Yeah, that mug, boy, that thing.
And like that thing's going faster than you could even like
You can't even look
say
at
the
it.
numbers, right? Your mind can't even calculate it up because it's like do 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 do. So, we wanted to bring to your attention that this is the time, quarter two. Today is day 3, quarter 2, right? Sit down with your ledgers. Don't be lazy, right? Like I said, in this dimension that we live in, you cannot usurp the time or you cannot usurp the payment. And most of the time, people use payments to usurp time. When you don't have that type of capital, you just have to put the elbow grease in. It just is what it is, right? You can't make up the time gap. Get your banking ledgers out. Look at your spending. Use a highlighter, whatever you need to get that visual across to you to see where you can tighten up so that you can broaden maybe your investments and let that's the easiest flow to passive income right now, right? People talk about getting second gigs and doing this and doing that. I said, well, if you get a second gig, that's not passive income.
Yes, it's more work, but I won't bang on that for my youngins out here. I don't
But
know.
it's not passive income, right? But you should use that second gig if you have it as a way to maximize.
Yeah, and so what I was going to just flip on, I don't know if you're younger, I don't know what age people are, but the second gig is a way to use free time
Right.
to bring in more income. It's not passive income. It's income you worked for.
Right.
But if you have the free time and you can get a second gig and you can bring in more income, do that. Especially when you're young and you can,
Right. And you have the time, you have the energy.
You got the energy.
Your bones don't ache.
Yeah. So do it while you do it early, and then
Let me tell y'all.
and put that away.
When
and then,
Simon and I wake up and we look at each other, we be like, what hurts on you?
Yeah, man.
Like, baby, my finger hurts right here and right here. Because, I sit and I type all that. I be like, my tendon is sore. He's like, my shoulder. I can't raise my arm. We watched this Michael Jackson. It's not funny, but we watched Michael Jackson talking to, I want to say Barbara Walters. And I think, didn't he dislocate his shoulder and he was talking about how he can't raise it? And I laughed so hard because Simon just had that conversation with me the day before. He was like, Aaron, I can't, it hurts so much. And we don't know why these things hurt all of a sudden. We turned 40 and everything just started hurting.
It went away, man. It's just gone.
And then your voice, well, we know why your voice left. He's been off from basketball for 2 weeks. They just went back to practice today, but we had to shoot the podcast. So Coach Dad wasn't there today. So I'm hoping that Coach Dad can kind of keep it together so he has a voice for the show. And cousin Jake ain't gonna be trolling him about sounding like Terrence Howard. And because you had the nerve to mention Terrence Howard, Jake, when I went on my Facebook later on that night, they were showing me clips of Empire. Never had a clip of Empire show up on my Facebook feed.
Yeah, they be listening.
Yes, I was like, thanks, Jake. Thank you, cousin. Also, shout out to Mrs. Perry. I hope she is having a wonderful time with her biscuit in the oven. My little content baby cousin. So shout out to her, Jake. Just let her know that we thinking about her. The whole unbanked thing is a slow closing Venus flytrap. Shango, you ain't never said the truth like this to get as many people possible roped into their CBDC nonsense.
Yeah.
And all over the world is like they're trying to see if they can capture that all over the world.
And it's and the thing is, like, you don't even know that being unbanked is like a problem when you have a bank account, right? It's not. It doesn't come to your mind.
You don't think about all of the inconveniences that go with this.
But look at all the people like, oh, you're unbanked. You don't have this. These are the things you can't do because you don't have a bank account or a certain type of bank account. The way that they're registered, like you can only do certain things with this account, but you can't do it like it was a real bank account.
Now we're gonna tell y'all something funny though. We live in the twilight zone. So when we pull out our debit cards, oh my God, we have this metal one. They look at that metal card like it is it's like I'm handing them the key to my spaceship. They're like, what is this? What do we do with it? So just insert it in the machine, right, with the chip going that way. You know, they're going like this, and they're looking at it, and they're looking at the back. And
here is when you
they're all unbanked here, all of them.
Yeah, like here you have to. You know, in the United States, you could just use your card. Nobody has to really touch it or anything.
A lot of times you just use your phone. You just bloop.
But
it's a mouse.
But now here they have these little, like what are those things called?
What the
little
squares
and stuff. Mm-hmm. So you got to give them your card, and then they'll run the transaction.
But they've never seen these jazzy cards before, especially the metal one. He does it on purpose now.
I got 3 of them.
He does it on purpose.
And I'm like, man, can I have my card back?
Why is this so heavy? They're asking me in Spanish, like, why is it so heavy? And I'm like, there's a lot of money on it, so be careful. And they think that that's true. They're like, ay, Dios mío. And they rub it because they want to rub some of the mojo of the money off the card.
But now you get all kind of metal cards. We had an Acorns card.
Baby, nobody uses cards here.
But we had an Acorns metal card.
I don't use that though. I don't use that. We just all of the money get piled up on there, but I don't use the
Uphold. I mean, yeah, they just give you a card. It's metal and they make it seem.
It's hilarious, y'all. I said we wasn't gonna be on, and of course it's 1 hour and 11 minutes. There's 65 people in the room.
Yeah.
The whole unbanked thing is. Oh yeah, I read that. I read The Richest Man in Babylon. It hit on a lot of what y'all are talking about. Oh, okay. Is it a book? Is it a PDF, Shango? Tell me a little bit more because I would like to read that. Holloway Fan Bam, them old bones. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Oh, yeah. I don't know why they hurt either. I'm like a young 43. I'm like 23, 43, right?
Bones don't agree.
The bones do not agree. My bones are like, girl, you lucky you ain't 63. Look, Tawana said, wait till you're 60. I know, I'm scared. I'm scared. Jay Fever said, yo, he good though. He's probably talking about Terrence. And I believe another book called The Science of Getting Rich. Okay, I'm going to look that up hopefully it's on my Kindle Unlimited. Jay Fever said, laugh out loud, Empire, baby shower this weekend. Oh, yay! Bitcoin Shango, send me some pictures to my email and shout out Mrs. Perry. Jay Fever's at the baby showers this weekend.
Okay, so
she don't have long to go.
Okay, so Jay.
But he was just saying laugh out loud Empire. But because he said it, I sat there like, okay, let me see this cookie character that she was talking about, stuff like that. But just because he said it and they were like trolling you during the show, I got all of these clips of Empire on my Facebook feed. Back in the day, we cashed our checks at the liquor store. Woo!
Yeah,
woo, child!
That's real back in the day.
And bought money orders for our bills. No bank was needed. If you never told us how old you were, Tawana, we would have been able to pinpoint it right there. Not money orders for the bills, right?
At the liquor store, hey.
Cousin Shango wants to wish Cousin Jake congratulations. We are just as excited for our new content cousin, our little content baby cousin to come to the world. If Coinbase want to impress me, they need to start mobile check deposits. If they do them, then they will be the new bank. I think, though, that there's a hang up with them being considered a bank because I noticed there's certain things they don't do. Notice that your Cash App card isn't charged by Visa or MasterCard. Because, honey, I would be able to use that here, and that would be so great, right? Cousin Jake said, thank you. If you know, you know. I said your name like 3 times today, if you know, you know. So thank you for joining. And if you know, you know, I'm going to go ahead and take Shango's advice and read those 2 books. Big Cousin Rue. See, Cousin Rue got to get like OG, triple OG status, cousin-wise. Because he be helping me a lot.
Big Rue, what's up, Big Rue?
He said, I feel y'all, the ace of real. And Cousin Rue, I don't know if you heard me telling them earlier about living in this dimension, how you can't make up the time gap. And the only way you can make up the time gap is to make a significant payment, right? So like if you want the house right now, if you don't have the capital, you have to do the time.
Yeah, the payment is.
The state, when you do something wrong, and you don't have that bail money and all of the money to get yourself out of trouble with your lawyer, and you don't have a quality lawyer, the capital for a quality lawyer to get you out of trouble. What was his name? Jackie on Seinfeld?
Okay.
He was supposed to be like,
the Jackie something.
You ain't got lawyer Jackie from Seinfeld. right? You have to do the time.
You have to, because, and I came across a young, I would say a gentleman. He's a little older than me, and we were just talking, and he said, in no uncertain terms, he said, "I just gave the state 9 years, and I'm out here working." But that clicked in my mind, like he's saying, "I gave the state 9 years for whatever he did." I didn't ask him what he did, why I had to give 9 years. He gave the state 9 years. He gave the state 9 years. That was his payment.
But even so, if you're not born into wealth, you got to get your behind up and work just in order to survive in this world. You can't usurp that time. You have to put the time in. I don't feel like running upstairs to get my internet light, so we're going to close this off here in a minute. All the content cousins, let's give Jake a round of applause. He's bringing a new content cousin into the world, a new Bitcoiner. He's going to be setting up and taken care of. Yeah, my mind, I'm 25, but my bones say 55. Girl, you ain't never lied about that.
Reginald?
Tawana's laughing. Jake Fever. Rue, what does the energy say about these? Oh, the eclipse. Cousin Rue, I'm going to be outside to get my upgrade. So I would like to know what you think about that. The clip light, the internet light. I call it the internet light because I really am like 63 years old, stuck in this 40-year-old body. You got to hear the stuff I call stuff, like my mom. I'm going to be outside for that upgrade because they want everybody to be indoors. They want everybody to use their phones to track it. And I said, y'all got the most expensive telescopes in the world. What do you need our phones to track stuff for? Why do you want us in the house like this is dangerous? Why are y'all going to shoot missiles at the dome, the firmament that God made, when the eclipse comes? Y'all have never acted this weird over an eclipse before. Why now? So, Cousin Rue, I do want to hear, I don't know if I'm going to call you, because I want to hear what you think about the eclipse, the energy that's coming with it. Do you think that's our fifth dimension upgrade? I've been drinking green juices and stuff to remove the metals from my body. So the good Lord does come to get us. According to Thessalonians 2, I'll be light enough to know we need a block. Can you get me a block? Well, we're about to log off anyway.
I mean, we're still talking to people, but
1981 was the year, baby. If I sneeze more than 3 times, I may have to go to the ER. That's hilarious.
yeah, true.
I was born in 81. That's a good
80s
year.
baby. It's an 80s baby.
Who said the 80s baby? Mama
Maybe.
Mama made me. AZ?
Yeah.
Where my hip hop heads at? Like, we be doing bars on here and I don't have nobody knowing what we doing. Muscle spasms at Bitcoin Shango, me too, yes. So we gonna be the Advil crew, because that's what I have to take, 1 Advil every day. And I told Simon that for real, I don't even think it's cutting it. I think I need to take 2. And that's 800 milligrams. That's a lot. All right, y'all, we got some light.
Try to.
No, baby, you gotta hit the lit button. Woo! And you gotta fix it. That's the harsh one. You gotta do the soft one. Our little internet light, y'all. The kids be like, Mom, that's not an internet light. It's just a ring light. It doesn't have a special name.
Yeah,
All right, y'all know what I'm talking about. Bring the damn internet light. But we love y'all. We're at the 1 hour, 18-minute mark.
Some more people talking because
I read all of that.
I seen something.
Yeah,
pop up.
but they're talking to their cousins. Muscle spasms. Yeah, Black Rue tell us. Well, I'm hoping that Rue is typing. That's what I'm really waiting to see if he's going to say something about the eclipse. I feel like it's the 5th dimensional upgrade. They talk about the X, that it's the arc is going to go on, and how the arc isn't a natural eclipse arc.
Yeah.
Okay, here go Cousin Rue. At Jake, it's putting an X over the United States, but one thing people aren't talking about, if you include another eclipse, you have an Aleph. I saw that, right? The Alpha and the Omega. And somebody had put together that, y'all remember the sea that dried up. It's gone from me now. Where in the Bible, Christ say, if y'all fail to worship me, well, if y'all fail to worship God, the rocks will cry out. And they say that the angels are under there. It is in the shape of the Omega sign.
Good night.
So bye, Tawana. Bye, Bitcoin Shango. I just want to talk to Cousin Ruth for a minute. So with the Aleph and the Omega, I feel like these are the signs that he told us to look for in the end times. And it's about to get real. So I don't know. I'm going to go outside and get some of whatever that energy is. Hopefully I get my fifth dimensional upgrade. And maybe my achy bones won't ache so much.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the beginning of our incorruptible bodies. We'll see.
That would be nice.
But we'll definitely catch you guys again on today's Wednesday, Friday.
Maybe Friday, maybe Saturday. We have some things in the works. We'll see what happens.
I'm off on Friday. That would be better though.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
And we love y'all so much. We thank you guys for joining us, for supporting us. At the height of the show, we had 65 people in the room, so we enjoy your support.
Thank you for that.
And y'all support your content cousins as well. And we will see you Friday. Bye.